Hi Caleb, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Gloria?
I'm doing very perfect. All right, I
Oh,
really
thank
want to
you. I'm
appreciate you
glad
being
to
on
hear
the
that.
call. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can very well.
Okay. I do want to appreciate you being on this call. Thank you for answering our call.
Thank you. It's both a delight and an honor for me, I must say. Thank you for having me.
All right, all right. So we are going to go straight to what we have this evening so that we don't keep our audience, our participants, very anxious and worried. Let's unfold to them what we have for them today. I know you're loaded, right? Okay.
You said you know I am what? I didn't hear the other part, please.
You're loaded now. Come on. You're loaded for us.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trusting that the conversation will really be insightful and practical. All right, and that for everyone who gets to listen to this later, that we also have a lot to take, right? And I also really want to commend you for this initiative, the paradigm shift. If there's one thing that we definitely need, it's we definitely need people to better understand some of those concepts that are being shared in and through this program, in and through this initiative on career, on leadership, on purpose, and every aspect of it. Every aspect of it. Personally, I would also be joining in to listen to the other speakers because I must commend you for bringing such an amazing line. Thank you for drawing on the wealth of your personal relationships, your professional relationships to make this happen. I celebrate you, ma.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. All right. Thank you so much. I don't take it for granted. Okay, let's just go straight that right in, right? You have a career for us this evening. The field we're going to be looking at is career. So I don't want it to be interrupted. So I'll give you the space so that you can flow freely. It's a class, right? I trust that our audience and our participants are with their book and biro where they're able to jot down points that stands out for them. Yeah. So I think I'm going to leave the floor to you right now. I'm going to keep myself muted.
Okay. Thank you. So before we dive right into it, right, I would just love to introduce myself. My name is Cookeygam. An instrumentation and control engineer. That's my current job description. That's my current job role, right? My job description is a bit more different, but that's my current job role. And I work with an EPCI firm. An EPCI means engineering, procurement, construction, and installation. So that's just to simply describe what my company does, right? This is currently my second job role since I graduated from the University of Benin, where I studied electrical electronics engineering. And before that, I had studied computer science and education, right, through an open and distance learning program. And so today, I really count it an honor and a privilege to be sharing with you on career because it's such a critical part of our lives. I would love to ask a question. You know how growing up, there was this question they love to ask us: what do you want to be when you grow up? Right? That was those questions that they oftentimes it usually comes from our parents or from one uncle or auntie. They just loved that question, right? And then we usually give this. Our answers were always the same. It's either we say want to be a doctor, or want to be an engineer, or want to be a lawyer, or maybe a pastor. There were just very few options because we had very few jobs or very few professions that we knew, right? But I'm trusting that by the end of this session, we'll have a broad understanding of what career is about, of how we can also build and prepare for a glorious and a great career ahead, because I can tell you for the greater part of our lives would be spending a lot of it at work or in the workplace. Now some persons will say, oh, I intend to own my own business. Oh, I intend to be a minister, right? I intend to do politics, or I intend to do whatever it is. But all of those things are also going to be fitting into what we call your career, right? Into your career path. Because by definition, your career is not your job, right? I would want to make that distinction. Your career is more about the course, the evolution, the progression, right, of your working life. So it means that you can transition from those job role to another job role, and you are still building that career. Okay, it means that you might not yet have a job currently, but you've also started building a career. Beginning from the course of study, you're currently taking the training programs you undergoing and all of that, right? I'm just trying to emphasize something, that career forms such a critical part of our lives. And for those of us who are people of faith, we must also understand that there's a calling over our lives. And what that means is that we do not just choose things that we want to do just arbitrarily. We must understand that we were made on purpose for purpose. So if there is one conversation that is so critical to the conversation around career, is the conversation of purpose. It's a conversation of understanding that we are not here accidentally. Okay? So for a definition, excuse me. Sorry, excuse me.
So sorry.
Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. I just had a little. Okay, so for a definition, right, I would love to define a career. A career refers to the general course of your action, your conduct, your profession, and your occupation in life. Right? That is the dictionary definition. It simply talks about the pathway that you choose to pursue over a long period of time, especially in your professional field, especially in your professional career. And one thing you definitely observe that defines a lot about your lifestyle. It defines a lot about who you are. Many times when people have to introduce themselves, one of the things they usually say is their job, their career. I was to introduce myself, right? I didn't say, oh, this is where I'm from. I'm a Christian. Yes, I'm a youth development advocate. Yes, I volunteer with a number of organizations. But all of those things are not usually the first things we say when we introduce ourselves, right? We're usually just saying, oh, this is my name and this is what I do. That part of what you do, right? It's usually closely linked with your career. And so it's such a key choice. It's such a key choice that we have to be intentional about, that we have to understand that choosing the right career path can define the trajectory of our lives, right? It can really make all of the difference. And interestingly, the world we live in is not the same as what it used to be then. It usually works is once they go to school, they get a degree, they get a job, and they work on that job for the next 30 years. Right? That was the norm usually, right? But we now know that in this age and time, sometimes some persons get to graduate and they are seeking certain jobs that I want to emphasize, it's not that the jobs are not there, but maybe they find out that is this very boring? Should I? Maybe they find out. Let me do this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's better now.
Yeah, it is actually. It is.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm emphasizing, right, is that then it was just this linear progression where you know that, oh, once you are done with your course of study, you get a job and you go on working on that job for several years until you retire. But in today's world, right, there is much more flexibility, there's much more mobility in the world of work. In fact, I was reading a research, and the report of that research was that in 2025, that's just last year, right? The fastest growing jobs were not the regular professions that we know. They were more about data analytics, digital marketing, renewable energy, software development. These were the fastest growing jobs according to that report in 2025. And post COVID, that is since 2020, we now have some persons who will, if you ask them, what do you do? They'll say, I'm a content creator, as a description of what they do. Now, that was not really a thing just 7, 10 years back. You agree with me, right? So I'm just simply saying that we are currently in a world where there's a lot of changes and transformation and transitions that are ongoing. And so it's very important that we understand these and also better prepare and position ourselves accordingly. So because I would want you to remember certain things from this conversation. I don't just want to just speak to you. I don't just want to just talk at you, right? So I'm going to be using what is called framework-based conversations. Framework-based teaching is a form of systems thinking and system communication where I'll be giving you acronyms and giving you the full meaning of that just to help you have things that you can have as a takeaway that you can say, oh, this is what I learned, this is what I'm going to act on, right, from this conversation. So one of the first acronym I want to introduce you to, right, is one that I learned from the Purpose Driven Life, and that is the acronym S.H.A.P.E. S.H.A.P.E. And what is that? It's simply a way that you can study yourself and find certain things that are peculiar about you, certain things that are closely aligned to who you are, your interests, your abilities, and to better find how that fits in, right, with God's purpose for you. Because like I said, we were made by God on purpose and for purpose. Okay? Shape. What is the S? The S stands for your spiritual gifts. Why am I starting with that? Because for very many of us, one of the first places where we begin to serve and begin to work and begin to learn, is usually within religious circle, in the church, right? Or for some of us also in some other religious faith. But you will find that there are certain things that come to you easily. You might be more drawn to maybe teaching, or to more of administration, or to more of counseling, or to more of, certain things within the church, or even music. Statistically, most musicians, including those that we call secular musicians, especially in Nigeria, they were once in a church choir. You can go check that out. Fact check me on that. So, you want to consider your spiritual gifts. Excuse me. Next, you want to consider H. And the H stands for your heart. What do I mean by your heart? Your passions, your desires. There are some things that other persons will see, they won't even observe or notice it. But once you see it, it pains you. You just have this hunger that, oh, why is this thing like this? What? Tweeted. And all of those to me now, who is like, oh, why is the network interfering? It ought to be seamless. So it means that you might actually have something to contribute to that, right? I'm just simply saying that there are certain costs, there are certain things that other persons might ignore, but for you, it's a big deal. You see somewhere being dirty, or you see something happening, and it makes you angry, or sometimes not even angry, sometimes it makes you come alive. Once it's something that has to do with, something fun, or something around communication. For the longest of time, I know that I've always loved talking. I've always loved communicating, right? It makes you come alive. It's something you do with so much joy and ease and enthusiasm. I'm simply saying that each and every one of those things reveal your heart, and you also want to take them into consideration on this decision or on this choice of a career path. The next thing, A, your abilities. This includes both the natural talents and also the skills that you acquire. There are some things that you do effortlessly that so many other persons struggle with. And it's not just accidental. It's not just something that, just happens. It is actually a seed that if you cultivate and nurture, that if you cultivate and nurture and build on, you can build a career of impact, of influence, and even of affluence from it, right? So that is the A. The P is your personality. There are some of us that, as much as people are saying, oh, there's money in content creation, this is how much YouTube paid me, this is how much I made on TikTok, you know that based on your emotional and behavioral tendencies, you don't even want that entire celebrity life, right? You know that, oh, you would prefer to manage those talents. My point is that your personality, your behavioral tendencies, your when we talk of introversion, extroversion is a spectrum, right? So wherever you fall along that spectrum, it can also be a guide to tell you that, oh, there are certain things that will be a better fit for you. Now, I'm someone who believes that as humans, we can, adapt, modify our personalities. We can learn, we can, all of that, right? However, I'm simply saying that you do not want to become an entirely different person because of maybe you want to pursue a career path. You want to start with who you are, what you have, where you are. I will say that again. You want to start with who you are, where you are, what you have, what you can do now. It is from this point that you want to start building. You know how you use Google Maps? And one of the first things you want to do on Google Maps is that you want to indicate where you are, your current location, before you can choose your destination. And then Google Maps can now give you a direction to get there. So three key things: your current location, your choice of destination, and then you can get direction. There are people who start saying, oh, please mentor me, please mentor me. Oh, please, I want to learn a skill. Oh, I want to. And they have not first started with that personal study. That is why I'm starting with this S.H.A.P.E acronym. That's why I'm starting with this. You must understand that your personality is a guide. The E, right, which is the last on this S.H.A.P.E acronym, is your experiences. Your experiences. Now, I do not believe that experience is the best teacher. I personally believe that examples are a better teacher. And I also believe that in the school where experience is a good teacher, I'm not saying experiences are not good teachers, I'm saying they are good teachers, but examples are better teachers. And I'm also saying that in the school where experience is a good teacher, wisdom is the headmaster. That is why the Bible says wisdom is the principal. So, right? But you do not want to discount your experiences. The lessons you've learned from your family, from your background, from the previous jobs and roles that you have served in. Okay, you want to identify them and you want to also build on them. Even the ones that sometimes were painful, because I believe that pain has a purpose. I believe that from the crushing of the grape, from the crushing of the olives, you can have wine, you can have oil. Okay, so you also want to consider your experiences. So once again, S.H.A.P.E as an acronym. Consider your spiritual gifts, consider your heart, consider your abilities, consider your personality, and consider your experiences. Now, there are also some questions that I want you to ask yourself. I remember then, right, for the longest of time, I wanted to be a medical doctor. I mean, for several years, I wanted to be a medical doctor. In fact, to give you a bit of context, I applied for medicine and surgery 4 years. And finally, I graduated from electrical and electronics engineering. I do not have a regret. I am so proud and glad and happy about it. I mean, this is me using it as a testimony. But you see, one of the things that brought about the pivot, that brought about the turning point, was that I was having a conversation with someone. And then there were some questions he asked me. And I really want to use today as that opportunity to give you those same questions so that you can, use it to guide your decision. The restored power, so that's why it's brighter, right? We have to deal with some of those realities. Okay, so going on, right? What are some of those questions I want to ask? And that is, the first question is, who am I? It's a question on identity. It's a question on you, first of all, discovering yourself. There's what's called the Socratic dictum. And what did he say? Man, know thyself. And some of the questions that can help you answer that question are some of the things you should consider in answering that question is the S.H.A.P.E framework. But the next thing you want to ask yourself is, what problems exist in the world that I care about solving? The next question I wanted to ask is, what am I naturally good at? I wanted to ask, what can I build on this? Then also, I want you to ask, wait, what will people pay me for? Why am I saying that? Because sometimes, right, some persons do not understand that the things that they are naturally good at has to be cultured and cultivated into a skill before it can form a viable career. I'm simply saying people will not pay for the raw you. There often has to be the nurturing. There often has to be the process of growth, the process of preparation to ensure that what you are offering, it has real market value. Okay? So that is those are some key considerations and key questions that I want you to ask. Some of the things I'll be saying much later for those of you who are specifically on campus, currently on the graduates, will be closely tied to this, right? So when I get there, I'm just going to rush through it. But I really want you to not just listen to me, take time and think on those questions and even write them down. Write down your answers. Now, one interesting thing will happen is that in a few years, you can ask the same questions and your answers will not exactly be the same. But you will find that there is a progression or that at some point there was a transition and you want to document that process, that journey. Don't be that person who is just chasing money. There are other persons who are doing a lot of things for money. Money is good, money is important, money is powerful, right? But money in and of itself does not guarantee fulfillment, does not guarantee purpose, does not guarantee. So that is why I'm saying that I started with the question of who are you, what are you good at, what problems do you want to solve. But I also said, what will the market pay for you? Because you do not want to be a starving artist. Okay. So that's how quick. Make me emphasize some things I want to point out to you. And those are some skills that I want to encourage you to build. Some skills that I want to encourage you to cultivate. And on this point, I'm going to give you three C's. Three C's. In the age and time that we live in, the question is not just what did you study? The question is not just, all of those usual questions that we usually ask, because we've seen people who studied engineering. I have friends. This one is, I know people who studied engineering and currently they work in finance. Currently they work in consulting. Currently they work in information technology. Also, in time, rate is not just about what did you study. It's more about what can you do. Right? And I was given the illustration of people who start from this course of study and pivot into something else, right? If I just check it out, how many of our political leaders studied political science? We have ministers, right? I mean, now, ministers in church circles, in the Islamic circles, and all of that, right? That their background is in architecture, or in mathematics, or in engineering, including imams, the chief imam of, okay, let me not give a specific example, right? But basically, as I interact with people across different faiths, I find that there are a whole lot of possibilities. I give the example of, some of my friends who are currently working in finance and consulting. I mean, one of them just even got into EY, which is one of the big fours, right? And I'm emphasizing this because I want to give you the next framework around skills. 3 things that you must cultivate. And to make it very memorable, I'm going to use C's. 3 C's. The first C is that you must cultivate your competence. And what I mean by your competence is your knowledge and your skill set. What you know and what you can do. You must also cultivate your character. What do I mean by your character? Who you are, even when no one is watching. That is the place where I'm emphasizing integrity, consistency. Look at this. Competence is key. There are a lot of persons who are just talking. They don't know how to do anything. There are a lot of persons who are so audacious, even on social media. And apart from, should I say that? Apart from some of the nonsense, stupid things that they do that people find funny and is making them somehow like a celebrity, they don't have real content. So competence is key. But even more important than competence is character. Why? We have some persons who also have built competence, but then they go on to even the global stage, even sometimes national stages, and different levels of exposure, and certain flaws in their character expose them. You begin to hear of some very funny, unpleasant stories. So you want to build character, you want to build confidence. You need both. Don't be a good person that is not skillful. Don't be a skillful person that is not what's the word? That cannot be trusted. So those are the two things you need to build. But the third C is also very important. And what is that? Confidence. There are some persons that sincerely they are skillful and sincerely they have good character. And I know many of them within my circle. Many of them. This is the thing they're lacking. They're not confident. Confidence is the ability to yourself without shaking. Because in today's world, there's a lot of noise being made. You cannot be silent and hiding your light. Amidst the noise, you want to provide value. You want to show up and stand out and let the world enjoy your excellence. I'll say that again. Show up, stand out. Let us benefit from the glory, from the grace, from the virtues, from the wonders of your life and your own journey. I'm emphasizing this because we're talking about career, but there are some persons who in the workplace are good at certain things, but nobody knows, and so they don't get opportunities. They don't get promoted. There are some other persons also who they might be so good, but because people know that you cannot trust them, they might say they will do it and end up not doing it. So you cannot commit key tasks and key positions to their hands. So these three things are important. The three of them is not choose one or choose two, right? Competence, character, and confidence. And just to mention also, there are some skills that when you build them in your in the aspect of your competence, they are transferable across industries. They are transferable across different job roles. I was saying something earlier that my job role currently is that I'm an instrumentation and control engineer. I am primarily being trained, right? Because I'm still in the training phase. But do you know that some of the things I'm learning now, right, as touching my use of Excel and Aviva E3D and AutoCAD and a number of those software that I use just on my day-to-day. I will not use them only in this role. I can go on to do something entirely different, and as long as it requires me to do a 3D. Once again, I've shared with you 3 C's that I want you to culture and cultivate: your competence, your character, and your confidence. It's not 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 3. I want you to be intentional about the 3 of them. So, just to be very specific, there are some skills that when you cultivate them in the arena of competence, you will find that they are transferable across different industries, across different spheres. And I was giving an illustration, right? That, for example, I currently work in a job role that involves me to use Excel and AutoCAD and Aviva and TrueView and some software like that actually is so basic for what I do. However, they are not just tied to what I'm currently doing. If I go on to do something else that requires me to do a 3D modeling, or that requires me to analyze a lot of data, or all of those other things, I will still use the software. So I'm simply saying that you want to ensure that the things you are learning are not just limited in the application, especially at the earlier stage of your career, that they can have multifaceted applications. Are we together? That it has multifaceted applications. I'm trying to say that you must commit to learning, especially at the earlier phase of your journey. Money is important. Oh, please, you should make money, right? But ensure that you are not just seeking a role where all they give to you is that you are being paid. You need a role where, as you're being paid, you are also learning, you are also growing, you're also becoming a bigger and a better person. Because don't forget, our conversation is about career. And for many persons who are on this call, it's either you are just about to get a job, or you are maybe on your first, second, third job role, or possibly you are still in the university or in the polytechnic. So many of us were still young. And I'm trying to emphasize that this our youthful age is a good time to learn. Okay? You also want to learn skills like communication, soft skills, emotional intelligence, problem solving, leadership. Please don't run away from responsibility. You are called to. I'm thinking if I should start, telling stories. But Gloria here can affirm and attest, right? I've held quite a number of positions. And one thing I can tell you of the truth is that through each and every one of them, I grew. I became a bigger person. Now, not in my muscles. See my muscles, I don't even have, right? But I mean, in terms of my capacity, in terms of my confidence, in terms of my network, in terms of my net worth, in terms of my ability to add value. Do you understand the point, right? So you want to also build your leadership skill. It's a soft skill, but it's also very important. And I was also saying that digital skills, we are in a digital age. You do not want to be that person who does not know how to use AI. No, no, no. Regardless of the business or the industry you are going into, you must understand that AI is a tool. It will only make the things you do easier. People are like, oh, AI will replace people. AI will take people's job. Hello. People will only have jobs that will involve using AI. There will always be need for people to build, for people to use them, for people to train them, for people to. My point is that there will always be the need for humans. That's the truth. Just that as human beings, we must understand that we're in a century where we must be lifelong learners. We must have the ability to learn, to relearn, to unlearn things. That is what I mean by being a lifelong learner. So you must learn digital skills. You must understand that one of the job roles I currently work with, it's an internationalization based in the US and all of that, right? Whatever, I don't know. The point is this, right? One of the major things we use, as simple as it is Google Workspace. Word, PowerPoint, Excel sheets, Google Meet. Even for our conversations, we use Google Chat. Some of us don't know that Google has a chat feature. Like Google Chat is an app, is a program on its own, right? We don't have any WhatsApp group. That is where we have all of our groups. So you want to be conversant with social media and with data visualization and with the Google Workspace and with all of those AI tools. If the only AI you use is ChatGPT, hello, you are still backward though. Okay, let me move on quickly, right? And like I was saying earlier, also many of those skills are transferable, right? So to just give you an easy way to learn things, it is learn by doing. It's so easy to learn things when you do them. Let's say doing, it can involve you taking an internship. It can involve you just choosing a personal project and working on it, or you just volunteering or freelancing. And then I know one of my friends. I mean, this guy is on money. But do you know the funny thing in his line of work? Many of the projects he works on, he has not worked on them before, because they're always different based on the client's needs. So there are times when he has to work on something and he has to learn to know how to deliver that particular project. He's a freelancer. I'm just simply saying that way he learns better, he learns faster because he's learning with a purpose in mind. He's not learning aimlessly. There are many of us that think that you will learn by just reading. I love reading. I always have one book, 2 books, 3 books at most that I have on my current reading schedule. I mean, I am always reading. So I'm not trying to downplay the place of books, but I'm just simply trying to say that you will learn more and you will learn a lot faster and better by actually putting to practice things, by doing things. Do you understand me? Because there are some of us who all we do is we listen, we read, we attend conferences, and we take no action. So it's not showing in our lives. And that's so sad. That you know what to do, but because you are not doing it, You are as someone who does not even know. That's so sad. Okay? So I'm still emphasizing that you must understand that all of those things that you do practically will give you experience, will give you certain things. One of the times I was talking to this panel, and when I said outlining, back then in school, we had some huge projects. In fact, there was one of the innovation challenges that I organized, prices in millions. You need to see the ideas, right? A number of things that I did that I've been involved with, right? I'm thinking if I also say some of it, it might also sound like boasting, but let me boast a little, okay? One of the things I loved about my time in school, right, was the measure of influence that I was intentionally cultivating. And over that period of time, numerically, I impacted and interacted with well over 6,000 students. Now, just in my institution, just in my institution. So if I look at all of the facts that I was also invited to speak in other institutions, some of them online webinars and all of that, then that number is closer to 7,000. Okay? Even more. So I'm just trying to say this to make a point. And I was speaking with someone, and it's a project where we just had about 85 mentees and everything. Right? And then I mentioned that, well, some of the things I've been involved with has literally impacted thousands of students. And they're like, what? How? Where? And I was showing them. Because for some of those things, let me give you an example. Just my scholarship, information that I share, guiding people to apply for undergraduate scholarships since 2021. Recorded numbers, right? We have over 300 beneficiaries. Now, and I was just, giving all of those things across. And they were like, oh, wow, this is just going to be easy because how many persons are involved, right? And the truth is, listen to me, fewer persons are involved with this one I was having a conversation with. But the budget, I've not worked with that much budget before. But did it count? No, because I have done bigger things in a sense. I'm just trying to emphasize that you learn by doing, and then you will have certain experiences that when you relate it, when you tell them, would prepare you for other things. Okay? So it's just something I really want to emphasize. I'm thinking, I don't want to tell you a lot of stories today, but once in a while it's going to be unavoidable. Okay? So you really want to commit to learning. You want to build your competence and your confidence. Your confidence. The things you do daily defines who you are becoming. There is no one future you. You are creating the future you now. You are creating the future you on the day-to-day basis. You're either becoming better, increasingly, or worse. You cannot be, there's no standing still on the journey of life. Are we together? So I really want to just encourage every one of us to be intentional about that. Okay? The next thing I want to emphasize is our positioning for opportunities. Why am I saying that? I know some persons who are good with, you know, their competence and some things that I've mentioned, right? But they do not understand that sometimes all it takes is a single opportunity. That can be the defining factor in the trajectory of your life. Why I started with the things I said first is because of what I want to say now. It is better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have the opportunity and find you are not ready for it. Oh God, you will regret it. You will beat yourself up. So that's why I started with competence. That's why I started with character. That's why I started with confidence. So that once the opportunity shows up, you are ready. But sometimes the opportunity can just be someone will send you a job application that you should do. Sometimes the opportunity can just be you are having this conversation with someone at a conference or online on LinkedIn, right? And then the person shares something with you. So I'm just simply saying that before you go for visibility, you need to build value. But in addition to building value, you also want to be comfortable with visibility. There's Thus, I read it in a very wise book, right? That you are a light, and you must not hide your light under a bushel. You must not hide it. You must allow it to find expression. So I'm saying two things under opportunities. One, value, and two, visibility. Visibility. Because generally, people would offer opportunities to those that they know, to those that they like, to those that they trust, to those that are visible. They will not come. You know, actually, when they say opportunity knocks but once, how many times does the opportunities really come and knock on your door? How many times? You might say, "Oh, I was at home when this somebody called me," and that's maybe because you interacted with the person online, or you met somewhere, or maybe the person heard of you, someone referred you, recommendations. I'm simply saying that many times it's not like there is no backstory. You know how sometimes people tell stories and it's as though there was no backstory. People tell stories as though suddenly, as though overnight, as though one day I just. But if you check it out, many times there was the process, the story that maybe because they want to make it sound very, very supernatural and spectacular, right? That they did tell. I'm just simply saying that putting the work in building value, in knowing where you're going and preparing for them, and then be comfortable with being seen. Don't hide. Don't hide. Okay? So let me just go on quickly and give you some action steps. Some action steps before I close there. Before I move on to something else I want to share. I'd explain to Gloria, once again, thank you so much for this initiative. I really wish I could have done this with a live audience, but I already have that time frame being packed. I don't think I'll even be so reachable, right? And because I really want to share this truth with you, that is why I'm doing this. So I want to go to very soon after this, right? I want to go to share some things with those of you who specifically are in the university, because it's not been so long since I graduated. That's me. For that one, I'm going to share some slides, right? I want to share with some of you who are specifically in the university. Why? Because when I look back at it, those 5, 6 years I spent in the university were really defining years of my life. Really defining years. In the number of persons I got to meet, in the number of possibilities and options that were opened to me. Now, it's a very normal thing having interactions with people from the US, from Canada, from, all across the country, all across the countries of the world. And, and I'm looking back before then, before, those 5, 6 years, most of the things I was doing just involved Nigeria and then, right, some bit of Cameroon and Benin Republic. So I'm just simply saying that there was just this explosive growth in terms of my financial capacity. That's when we dealt with millions, with a lot of things, right? Of course, I'm still growing, so I'm describing that phase that it was really defining. Now I have whatever. I have other bigger and better things that I'm seeking and chasing because I know where I want to be. Let me just put it like that, okay? But I really want
We're
to.
going to have that conversation at the back.
You said?
I said we're going to have that conversation at the back. Well,
Which part?
okay, you don't want to talk about currently. Currently, what? Let me not cut the flow of the man of God. I will continue.
Okay, that's fine. Um, what's the word? I think I feel like I'm part of why I'm being this passionate, right, about sharing this with you guys is because Gora here is, my very good friend, my sister, if I would even use that, and someone I so much love and respect and appreciate, and so we're gonna have that conversation in camera, right? This one not on camera. So just to say some things that there's still a whole lot we're seeking and chasing, mountains to take, territories to conquer, right? But I want to give you some simple practical steps that you can begin to take action on today. The first one, write down your shape. So you see those things I said, shape, spiritual gifts, paths, abilities, personality, experiences. Write them down. Describe as detailed as you can under each section. One of the things that's going to help you do is that when you really sit with yourself, you will find how complex and amazing and intricate you are. That I want you to do that, okay? And also part of why that would help you is that there are sometimes when people invite me to, okay, we want you to be a part of this, we want you to do this. And I tell them no. Why? As you know yourself, you'll find it easier to say no to some things because they don't align with the journey. Okay, so that's the first action point I want you to take. The next one is I want you to build a professional profile. And one platform I recommend highly for this is LinkedIn. You can go check me out on LinkedIn. I'm not going to just speak so much on that, but you want to do that. You want to build a professional profile, right? You want to use a headshot that is professional, your educational experiences, you want to update, all of those things, your journey so far, and also even the path you are building towards. Not as a trying to fake it till you make it. No, I don't do that. I don't do that. The current you is enough to talk about. I don't know how to put it. Because you know how I use the illustration of Google Maps? Describe your current location, but also let there be the foretelling of your destination, of where you are going to. Along the way, there might be some, changing routes and all of that, right? But you want to first of all have that there's somewhere you are going to in mind. You don't go to a bus park and say, which bus is going, and then you jump into it. That's where you're going to. It's anywhere.
Yes, no.
That's not how you make journeys, right? That's not how you travel. So I'm just simply saying that you want to be intentional about that, right? So update your professional profile, and specifically, I'm recommending LinkedIn. Then one more practical thing I want you to do, is I want you to just practice a personal pitch.
Okay, ma'am, no problem.
A personal pitch is something like, my name is Cookeygam. I'm an instrumentation and control engineer, and I'm building towards a future where Africa has sustainable energy. My name is Cookeygam. I'm a youth development advocate. And I so much believe that the greatest wealth that Nigeria, that Africa has, are the young people. And I'm building towards a future where those young ones have a voice and where they are contributing to the growth and the progress of our nation, of our continent. I want us to just build something simple like, oh, my name is, whatever it is. My name is Cookeygam, and I'm a musician. I just love bringing joy and expressing people's experiences and emotions through the vehicle of music. Just short thing, your name and what you do. You see that simple thing. It will come in useful the day you are talking to someone who can be such a strategic partner or can be such a pivot to your life's journey. Oh, like I said, I don't want to tell stories. Oh, okay. Just to mention this one, I didn't take it up. Just last week, right? I met with someone and just had a conversation, very brief conversation. It was an unplanned meeting. Unplanned meeting. We just happened to be in the same vehicle. That was it. And then introduced myself and everything, right? And the person made me an offer. Now, sincerely, it was so tempting. I'm just simply trying to say that sometimes that very brief description, brief introduction that you can give of yourself is something you want to know, you want to practice, you want to have laid down that at that point you can just go and say it. And you want to make it big. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. I'm not saying like your book, pass your exams, get a job. Gloria, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. It was showing me that the network is 40 years, so I will not confirm. I know why I'm not speaking about career in that form. right? I can do that. I can tell you, oh, be serious with your schoolwork, pass your exams, and then get a job. And but I know I'm teaching about it this way because this way, regardless of the jobs you have or the jobs that people say are not there, you will always be of value. You will always be solving problems. You will always be meeting people. You will always be productively engaged. You would always find that you can live a fulfilling life. And that is the goal. That's why I'm speaking about it like this. So at this point, I'm going to share. So those are some action points, right, that I want you to definitely take. Write down your shape, update your professional profile, right, and then practice your personal introduction, your personal pitch, right. It can be something that you can also reach out to someone you trust, someone you know, and just use that to practice, right, and hear the person hear that pitch.
Okay,
So at this
yeah.
point, I'm not. But I hope this has been impactful. I'm really hoping that for all of you who are going to listen to this much later, that you know it really produces results in your life. That is. If you can see me, I'm sweating. I'm like, how to put it. My heart is really going out to you guys. I hear people complaining about Nigeria, and I'm like, this Nigeria, this beautiful Nigeria, like that there are opportunities, that there is money, that there is, Nigeria is a place where people say, oh, things don't work. But all of those things that you're saying are not working are also opportunities to make a change, opportunities to profess solutions, opportunities to define your own journey. So, a few things I would just want to say, right, in closing, then I'll respond to questions because, time is so fast spent, and it's also been so much a delight doing this. So, a few things I want to say is that your career path could take so many hours of your life. Check it out. Whatever business, whatever ministry, whatever job role you get to take, you might end up spending 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours on it each day. Multiply that over the number of years. You want to be very intentional with that choice. We are currently living in what I consider the most opportunity rich period in human history. The world is more connected than ever before. I mean, there are some things that opportunities that our parents could not have imagined. I know people who their current job, their current business, their current whatever, just involves the online space. From content creation to cryptocurrency to data analytics to running ads to a lot of possibilities. That is just the digital space. There are people who are into agribusiness. I mean, recently, I don't know how many of you follow that news. The Today Umelu Foundation, they gave $50,000 to over 300 persons. I mean, of praying or to think that, you are being limited. Please break those limiting mindsets. Understand that with God you can do great things. Understand that your life is intentional. I'm not saying that it's been all easy. Some of us, we know we do not come from the most comfortable of backgrounds. But I'm simply saying that you can start casting a vision. You can start cultivating that picture of the future that is glorious. And I'm simply saying that you can start building value, investing value in yourself. And I'm simply saying that you can start increasing your visibility, showing up. The world is waiting for you. The world is waiting for you. And your career is just an opportunity to profess solutions, to offer value, to make contributions, to be a blessing in the world. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw
Okay.
that. I saw that that stuff Tony did too. Oh my God, it was mind blowing. After I saw it, I was
Okay.
just wondering, like, come on, why won't this guy be rich? Why won't he be
Yeah.
wealthy? Because he's creating value. And guess what? He's not creating
Yes.
value by selling and buying, even if it's like indirectly. But he's doing it by sustainability and scalability. He does not give his money to people that
Yes.
are not going to make that stuff scalable. Do you know the amount of revenue coming from those people that would receive the money or the grant. Come on, it's so much.
That is so key because these persons end up making key contributions to Africa, to Nigeria, to their different countries. And that is how the economy is built. That is how we begin having a new generation of wealthy persons. It's such a commendable one, and we truly celebrate and appreciate him, right? And thank you also for the opportunity, Gloria.
Thank you too. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we are going to be
So
going
you
to.
said you have some questions for me.
Yes. Are you ready?
Wow, this that feels like a hot seat.
Okay. I actually discovered that many of our youth are having a lot of questions in their chest. So you will help us to dissect these ones for them. Starting from the Nigerian question, you were saying something about some persons want to leave Nigeria. So it's like I'm going to ask the question again because you answered it indirectly, but I want you to answer it straightforward. Should I stay in Nigeria or plan to leave this country?
Okay. So I would be very plain, right? If you get an opportunity to go study outside, to work outside, that's a job, right? You should take it. But you should do that with a mindset that it is not that you are running away. You are using that to gain exposure, to build the international network, to also get to there are real problem opportunities and there are also real what's the word wealth in this country.
Yeah.
So you should also have a plan where after the education, after the work experience, after all of those things, you can come back and make your contributions to Nigeria. And now, when I say come back, some persons might not like relocate back to Nigeria and then base here. Now, I'm fine with that, right? Because ultimately, as believers, as people of faith, as people who God has purpose for, right? He can also instruct you that, oh, stay out there, or he can instruct you return of those part of divine instructions. But I'm simply saying your natural disposition should be gain the exposure, gain the education, gain the make the money, right, and then invest in Nigeria. That's so key. That's my personal response to that. Don't be one of those persons who you want to run out at all costs. Some persons are doing it illegally, going through the sea at the risk of their lives. Or some of them go out there and there is no real job there, they have no real skills. They end up being cleaners or end up being prostitutes or end up being no now. That one cannot be God's will for you. I can tell you for a fact. So that's my response to that. If you have legitimate opportunities, legal opportunities to migrate, definitely you should go get that exposure and that experience. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. As for me, I believe so much in Nigeria. I believe so much. I'm not going to go anywhere. We got a day here. Okay. Except if work calls. So we will do the needful. So the next question is, as a student now, should I focus more on a skill or should I focus more on my degree? How am I going to do it?
Okay. My response to that depends on you, who you are. You want to take that shape analysis, right? And then if you find that the career paths that are showing out of that once you're asking who are you, what can you build with that, what can the market pay you for, and you obviously know that you need that degree. See, you can just cut off every other thing, right? And focus on getting that degree, getting the first class. I know people who, in fact, one of my friends, why he's currently doing a PhD outside is because he graduated very excellent. But listen to this. That is because he knows that he needs that for the direct career path. In addition to that, he's also excellent at communication. So soft skills apply to everyone. But I'm simply saying that you might not need to go and start any programming if your end goal is to do some things in healthcare and you are currently a medical student, you're currently a nursing student, you're currently a pharmacy student. Master that and build around that career path. You get what I'm saying? I'm saying I see people who have any class they see, they want to learn, any skill they want to learn, any yeah, how to or learn how to so that's everything. Everything, but what about how find part? That is supposed that is supposed to that. It depends on this how you are building what. Thank you.
Oh wow. Everything you're dear. Every seminar you're dear. I can remember one of my mentors saying something about that. She would say, if you go everywhere, how will you become? You are draining your energy. Come on. You're draining your energy. You've not learned public speaking
Yeah.
finish. You want to do marketing strategy and blah, 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 and blah. Well, I think a question came here. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm so happy because we have a live session and then there's a student around too. Okay, this is beautiful. Let me just read it. Can I build boats at the same time? Both professional. Oh my god, this is off. Okay, we are going to have a cut, and we're going to edit the whole thing. So I will come again. Okay, while he's coming, there's another one here. How do I stand out in a competitive job market? How do I stand out in a competitive job market?
Okay. I'm going to give you three things. The very first one is your mindset. Don't think like everyone else. When people are thinking, oh, the job market is very, very competitive. Oh, there are no jobs. Oh, it's a struggle world. It's a dog eats dog world, and all of those things. No, have a mindset that sees possibilities, that sees openings, a mindset that you can see that there is a space for you. I'm a Christian, and one thing I always believe, right, is that my Father has gone ahead of me and has prepared a way. So I come into rooms, right, and I'm not one of those persons who is trying to stand on the queue. Oh God, I don't know how to put it. I have a feeling that most times, as I'm walking close to the front, I'm just finding favor. It's a mindset thing. It's a mindset, and I've seen it many times. As I'm walking in with that confidence, with that courage, sometimes one person is just, oh please come, and they're turning to me. I'm just simply saying you want to have a positive mindset, a possibility mindset. Yes, it's a competitive world, but don't see yourself as competing with people, right? See yourself as the favored one. And also from that concept of seeing yourself as the favored one, you'll be more open to collaborations. You will not start trying to drag someone down, trying to, oh, this person wants to take my space, this person wants to, no, you do understand. You'll be more open to collaborations and to complementing people. So, complementing in the sense of complementing, right? But of course, you should also be open to complimenting people in the sense of giving them compliments. You get my point, right? It's a play on words. So, the next thing I want to point out on this is a very competitive word is your skill set. Yes, there's a lot of competition. However, certain skills are just so relevant for this age and time.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to confirm that you could still hear me. Okay, thank you. So I said your mindset to stand out in the competitive world. Next, your skill set. right? There are certain skills that are so relevant for this age and time, and you want to build that, you want to cultivate those ones. I mentioned a few when I spoke about your soft skills, your technical skills, your people skills. I'm going to emphasize that more when I come to the third point I want to make, right? You want to build those skills, you want to build those skills, transferable skills, digital skills. It will make you stand out because why? People will know you as, oh, this person can do it. This is a person of value. This is a person of relevance. And people always want such persons on their team. Why? They will make valuable contributions. So your skill set. The third thing, right, is your network. You must pay attention to it. Why? It might be very, very competitive, oh, but there are people that if they just recommend you, or if they just refer you, if they call the HRO, rest, it is settled in your favor. So what people are saying we are competing. I know some persons are like, oh, Nigeria is corrupt. There is connection. People are using Imamadu. Hey, oh, it's not just Nigeria, it's in the world. Accept it, deal with it, and be intentional with your own network. I'm serious. I'm serious. See, you should know how life works and accept it as it is and make the most of it. Thank you. So yes, those are the three things I'm saying: your mindset, your skill set, and your network.
Oh, wow. Oh my God, Caleb, you're something else. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, the last question, and it's coming directly from our studio here. Um, it's still relating to the second to the last question I asked about the professional and your skill. What if this person, okay, let's be realistic now. What if he studied engineering, electrical engineering, and then he has a skill on photography, and he loves both of them? So if you were the person, let's not say if you were the person, what is the cancer you have for this particular individual? How does
Okay.
is it possible for him to manage both, or he just
Okay.
focus on one or something?
Okay. Thank you. So this is what I'm going to tell you, right? You're a student studying electrical and electronics engineering. If there's one of the best places to run photography as a business, is the campus environment. Because as much as students have their phones and every other thing, right? They still take professional pictures. There's something I'm trying to build on. Just stay with me. But don't chase photography at the expense of you graduating well. Your second class upper, your first class. I'll tell you why. I have a friend who is so big on architecture. That is even what he studied. But along the line, found out interest in, of all things, wait for what I want to say, movie production. I mean, what is skit making? Do you know the funny thing? He traveled out of the country for a graduate studies related to architecture. And of all the places he traveled to, right? I'm trying to think of how to explain this. Of all the places he traveled to France. It's actually more of a village in France. You call it a village, but the truth is that it's more developed than some cities in Nigeria. But I don't want to do that, right? But it's a village in France, and it so turns out that he opportunities. I'm just simply saying that yes, you can do both. You are studying electrical and electronics engineering, so you want to be looking at photography from the concept of light, from the concept of even producing what's the word, cameras and lenses. And I'm simply saying you don't just want to be that photographer that your goal is to have one umbrella and be taking passports. Think of how you can make an industry out of it. What contributions can you make to when I speak about lenses, do you know how much Kodak and Nikon and some of those big brands are making? The people who develop all of those cameras for iPhone and for Samsung especially, do you know? I'm simply saying that you want to take photography and think of it as an entire industry from production, right? Not just the part of you holding the camera and snapping pictures. Why? Because you are studying electrical and electronics engineering, which is my course, which is what I consider very versatile. Maybe it's the pride of being an electrical
Come on. Come on, don't do that here.
electronics engineer, but you get so I'm just simply saying that you can definitely you can, but even if you don't, at the very least, do your second class upper so that you do not feel like, oh, I wasted the years in school. Let it be that you get a degree and you don't need it, than you get an opportunity to need the degree and you don't have it. Think
Okay.
about it.
Okay. I think you're doing a level of partiality. You're just only speaking to the student as well. Is it because it's your passion, or be your calling, or be your desires? Which one? Please take your time. Oh. What about the graduates, the people that are already in spheres of influence and don't want to do this? What if the person that you're trying to talk to is also a graduate? You're just assuming for
Those,
the person.
those are my fellow graduates. We should talk to ourselves.
Okay, so do you want to use
So
two
one thing I want to
minutes
tell you,
to just
right?
talk
One
about?
thing I would want to say, right, to my fellow graduates, right, is
Mhm.
that we are truly living at the best time of history. And we have an opportunity to make real impact. We have an opportunity to build real influence. We have an opportunity to, be the generation that makes the shift in our lineage. And we do not want to squander that opportunity. We do not want to. Let us be intentional about our growth and about our becoming. Let us be intentional about our relationships. For many of us who are also recent graduates, just give it the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 20 years, who will be the rulers of industry? Who will be the one that are key decision makers in those spheres that you made reference to? So you do not, there are people who I see them, they're just trying to chase big men. Hey, oh, Gloria, I'm so proud to be connected to you.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
am
proud to
too.
be connected
I am too.
because I know that we are becoming.
Yeah, we
So
have
I'm simply
to.
saying that the best time to be the friend of the president is 20 years before he became the president. Think about it.
Say it again. Say it again. Please say
The
that.
best
That
time
should be a
to
quotable quote.
become the friend of the president is 20 years before he becomes the president.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm so happy I know you, Caleb. Yeah, this was so
Thank you.
awesome. This was so awesome. I'm very grateful. I'm happy I had a great time here. I learned a lot from you. Yes, I know that the people too are also equipped by your teachings. And it's my desire that this is the least you ever be. I'm sincere.
Amen.
Yeah, this is the least you ever be. Okay, so do you have any last word for your people before we call it a day and end the call?
Okay. Thank you so much for having me, Gloria, and thank you everyone for um, listening, especially for those of you who had to listen all of the previous minutes and hour plus. It's getting up to this point. I want to thank you for your attention. I want to also encourage you to not just be a hearer, but to take action on those things, right? And see, as much as yes, we've done a few things, I know we're going to do far bigger things, right? So I'm also admitting that I'm a very young person. I'm not a celebrity. Feel free to reach out, right? And we can get to have a conversation. There's always LinkedIn, there's always WhatsApp, there's always my email, right? And I look forward to also getting to it, right? And your life questions and all of that. But one thing is this, I'm rooting for you. And your career is a calling and an opportunity to make a difference in the world. You have just one shot at life. Every one of us, just one lifetime. Let us make the most of it. Thank you. And God bless you.
Yeah, amen, amen. Thank you so much, Caleb. Thank you so much. This was a whole lot. And then participants expect an assignment from this. Yeah. So let's call it a night so that we can go and reflect on everything that we have learned today. And we'll see you the next time we have a class. Thank you, Caleb. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you. Have a restful night. Bye.